Hi, welcome to Polyphonic Press. I'm Jeremy Boyd, and today I'm going to be looking at the second album from Tom Petty, entitled Wildflowers. Here we go. So this is Tom Petty's second solo album, released in November of 1994. This album was released after the success of Into the Great Wide Open, which was recorded with the Heartbreakers. Although the album was a critical and commercial success, it was a somewhat unhappy time within the band. It was produced by Jeff Lynne, whose approach is to sort of build everything up and sort of overdub every single part to every single song. Every single sound that you hear that's recorded is meticulously planned out, so bringing an experienced rock band into that form met with some very intense creative differences. Wildflowers, on the other hand, was produced by Rick Rubin, who has a little more of a laid-back approach to his production style. Essentially, he just sets the band up in the room and starts recording warts and all. This is technically a Tom Petty solo album because although most of the Heartbreakers do play on it, Stan Lynch, who was their drummer at the time, was still in the band and he was absent from most of the sessions. They also didn't want to be confined with just the 5 guys in the band and wanted to explore and have the freedom to bring in the right session musician for the song. Although there are some songs on this album where the band is in full force, songs like You Wreck Me, Honeybee, and Cabin Down Below, there are also songs where the band is hardly there at all, like the title track and Don't Fade on Me. The production on this album is pretty much what you would expect from Rick Rubin. It's very sort of raw and sort of stripped down. The album was recorded at Sound City and there wasn't a lot of reverb or anything added to the songs. They kind of just used the natural sound of the room. I think this album is a reflection of Tom Petty's creative peak as a songwriter. Lyrically, it's an interesting album written by a 40-year-old who has gone through a lot in his life. I don't think a song like Hard on Me could have been written by someone in their 20s. And Rick Rubin really pushed Tom into writing really good songs, and although this album took over a year to record and mix until it was finally released, I think putting all that hard work really paid off. If Damn the Torpedoes is the defining band album, Wildflowers is sort of the defining album for Tom Petty as a respected singer-songwriter. I think the song that really captures the essence of this album is the first single that was released, You Don't Know How It Feels. The song is pretty simple with only 3 or 4 chords, and I think if you like this song, you'll probably like the rest of the album as well. The rest of the songs don't necessarily sound like this one, but it kind of leads you down the same path to get to the destination. This is also the song that landed Steve Ferrone as the drummer for the sessions, and later on as the permanent drummer for the Heartbreakers. He came in and played the song without hearing it, and that's actually the take that they used that ended up on the record. It's really hard to choose a favorite song because I really don't think that there's a bad song on this album. But if I had to choose, I think I would probably choose Crawling Back to You. I think my favorite line in the song is most things I worry about never happen anyway, which is just such a simple statement, and it's so relevant to everyday life that people kind of glance over the very thought of that. But putting that into a song makes you kind of think that most of the things you worry about, they just end up never coming to fruition. I also really like the guitar solo in this one. It's pretty unique, and I'm not quite sure the effects that Mike Campbell is using, but when you hear it, you definitely know that it is Mike Campbell who's playing the solo. Tom Petty is by far my favorite artist, and whether he's with the Heartbreakers or on his own, he rarely disappoints. Damn the Torpedoes is my favorite album of all time, but Wildflowers is definitely a close second. It's an album that's full of anthemic rockers and poetry set to an acoustic guitar, and I think that's why so many people have been touched by this album over the years, because it offers a lot to many different music fans. If you don't know this album, I highly recommend picking up a copy. I can't recommend this album enough. Definitely give it a spin. So anyway, let me know what you guys think of Wildflowers. If you'd like to suggest a classic album for me to look at, please leave that in the comments as well. Be sure to subscribe so you know when we post new videos. You can check us out on Twitter and Facebook, and that's about it. Take it easy.